Yep. What?
The TD app is telling us that the lobby hours are closed, but the drive-up hours, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4.
Okay. The lobby hours are
Closed. In other words, you can't go in, but Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4.
No, which one?
The one here, Mission Bay.
9:30 to 4. Okay. Just the drive up, right?
That's what it says.
Okay. Makes sense.
I have a phone number.
No.
It's too early to call.
What do I need a phone number for?
I'm just saying, if you don't feel that it's appropriate.
How did you get that?
I'm on TD Bank.
Oh, that's why. Okay. I don't see how is it possible that the cars, where are they going to back up those cars to? Okay, there are 3 lanes, three drive-throughs. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Where are they going to, well, they could put like 30 cars.
What do you mean? The whole parking lot.
Yeah, I guess they can. Oh, 8:02 or something. I'll be able to go out for the first one.
businesses that get money in. I mean, I didn't look at, which one?
Well, power line is up the way, Clint water building.
Power line by, what do you call it, Dixon. By Dixon.
There's another one on 441.
Down by Sanford, over there.
Not really online. Not online.
Alliance?
Yeah. Yep, all the way down.
Yeah, I have them. Open the door. Open the door.
that wasn't there before.
Yeah, it was.
Good morning, Mr. Ted.
Okay, how are you?
Not bad.
Good.
Yeah.
I got a meeting this morning at M&O committee,
Lucky you.
and one of the things that had come up on it is there is somebody, I don't know who, whether he's one of the commissioners, I think one of the commissioners, like the 5 commissioners in Palm Beach County, who's saying if you have a volunteer who's capable of supervising things at the pool, you can go ahead and use them. So
Okay.
I don't know.
What does that mean? Who's capable?
Well, too many people is at the pool, tell them they have to go out. Or, if they're bringing their own chairs in, tell them they can't bring their own chairs.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that it's a great, I don't know it's gonna work.
We got a call last night from Rabbi Thor.
Who?
Thor.
Oh, yeah.
On the how come all of Ainsley wasn't notified and that type of,
Oh,
run that down. I went through, I said, listen, this is the rule. Only the director of that building and then first service will notify the rest of the building, not the director even directly, and that's the rule we work under.
Yeah.
Well, what if we sign a petition? I said, well, you can sign a petition. It's okay with me. I don't personally don't care if you sign a petition, to try to get them to notify all of Ainsley as opposed to just building A. For example.
I think I heard a totally different view from Stanley Kaplan wanting to know why we have to tell people, why it has to be notified.
No, I'm saying. So the answer is, I said, well, he heard from. I'm surprised it took that long. He heard from his cousin, who's in A. What was happening.
Mhm.
That's how he found out. I said, well, I think the best thing for you to do is call first service. Call Kathy or Angie and let them explain it to you. I know what I can do and can't do. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's where it ended. He goes, oh, I appreciate your comments, but do you want to, I don't assume you're going to sign this petition. I said, no, I can't because as president, I can't. And that was it. Anyway.
I'll probably hear some of that also.
Oh, you'll hear it.
But I think I had a very short conversation with Stanley Kaplan.
Yeah.
And I thought he was saying the opposite.
He probably was. Anyway, okay. I'm sorry, Rabbi.
You're here.
Yeah, Rabbi, you're unmuted. You're muted, I mean.
No, I'm okay.
Now you're okay. Okay.
All right. Okay, everybody here?
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay. All right, let's pick up a little bit where we left off yesterday. We're on Samach Aleph, Amud Aleph. Remember, we saw that there was a bit of an issue here with Rabbi Yochanan, that he had asked his servant or his colleague to hand him a shoe, and he gave him one shoe for his one foot, for his right foot. And then the question was going to be, he challenged him about that because our Mishnah had said that you can't go out only wearing one sandal. And the reason and the question then became, what foot did one put the sandal on? Was it on the foot that had the wound or the foot that was the good foot, so to speak? Okay. And that's what we had seen in the beginning of Samach Aleph, okay? And we're going to pick up in a moment that with that story and then continue on to a discussion of having gone through the whole business with the nails and the studded, things like that, some other aspects of putting on shoes, okay? And then we're going to get to some other aspects of the Mishnah as well, okay? So I'm getting us back into the Gemara with a real quick review from the top. Hayesh b'regel nafik, bar minayhu nafik. With which does he go out? Amar Rav Huna, says Rav Huna, ba'otah sheyesh ba makah. With the one, says Rav Huna, that you put the sandal on the foot that had the wound. Alma kasavar sandal l'shum sa'ar avid. And therefore this shows that wearing the sandal on that foot, that it's to prevent pain. B'chia barav am, right? And he says, Amar, b'ota she'en ba makah, the one that doesn't have the wound. Alma kasavar lashum ta'anug avid, which seems to imply that he says that one wears it for the benefit. V'zo sheyesh ba makah, makata mochachat Allah. And the one that the foot that has then no sandal is showing because it has this, the proof is the wound. Va'af Rabbi Yochanan savar la lahad Rav Huna. And it would appear that Rabbi Yochanan holds similar to the opinion of Rav Huna. Okay, which remember atop of the Amud, he said that to put the sandal on the foot with the wound. Okay, now picking up there, the Amar le Rabbi Yochanan le Rav Shaman bar Abba, that he told Rav Shimon bar Abba, Havli misainai, give me my sandals, plural, Bahavle diyamin, and he gave him the one for the right foot. Amarle, he responded, Asito maka, are you implying that that foot has a wound? Vadilma kichi bar Rav savirale. Perhaps we're saying, no, that he's of the opinion, namely Rabbi Yochanan, that he's of the opinion that you put it on the wound foot. Vahachi ka'amar. And this is what he meant to say to him. Asita shel small makah. Are you therefore implying that the left foot has a wound? Va'azda Rabbi Yochanan l'ta'ameh. And here's where are going to be picking up today. And so accordingly, Rabbi Yochanan followed his own shita, his own method of thinking. Da'amar Rabbi Yochanan kitfilin kach mena'alin. That the same way you put tefillin on, the same order, namely you put tefillin on the left arm, let's say if you're right-handed, left arm first, and then the right, then the head, kach mena'alin. So the same way you put on shoes, mat tefillin b'smol, af mena'alin b'smol. And likewise, since you start, if you're right-handed, with the tefillin on the left arm, right? You put on the shoes on the left. Okay? May tive. But the Gemara is going to challenge this with a braita. Keshahu no el, says the braita. When one puts on their shoes, no el shel yamin. Okay, you put on the right shoe first. Va'achar kach no el shel small. And afterwards you put on the left shoe. Amar Rav Yosef, says Rav Yosef, Hashta, the Tanya Hachi, now that it has taught us that, Va'arma Rabbi Yochanan Hachi, and Rabbi Yochanan, however, holds his view, okay, that in other words, you put it on the shoe with the wound, if you're wearing one, but otherwise you could put it on both shoes and start with the right, the Avad Hachi, one can follow that avad, follows that practice. With the avad hachi avad, and the one who does the other practice can follow the other. So the implication at this point is that there is no fixed decision as to the order of putting on one's shoes. One could either put the right on first or the left on first. Amar le Abaye. However, Abaye says to Rav Yosef, Dilma Rabbi Yochanan ha matnin. Maybe Rabbi Yochanan is based on the following text. Lo hava shamile. That maybe he didn't learn that text. Okay, that you have to put it on this bright, what this braita is challenging is putting on the left first. V'ihava shamile. And if he had learned it, hava hadarbe, that maybe he would have recanted from his position. Ve'i nami shamiale, and if he had learned it, ukasavar ein halacha ke'otam mishnah, and maybe even had he learned it, maybe he's of the opinion that the law is not like this particular braita or mishnah, which says you need to put on the left first. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Yorei Shamayim Yotzei Yedei Shteihem. That those who are truly God-fearing follow both. Umano. And who could that be, asks the Gemara. Mar Berei de Rabbana. It's Mar Berei de Rabbana. Okay? What did he do, asks the Gemara. Hechi Avid. Siyem the Yamina. He put on the right. Velo Katar. And didn't tie it. V'siyem the Smola v'Katar. And then put on the left and tied it. V'hadar Katar the Yamina. And then went back to tie the right shoe. And by the way, just as an aside, that apparently is the halacha that was determined and found in Shulchan Aruch. Amar Rav Ashi, says Rav Ashi, Chazina the Rav Kahana, I happened to see Rav Kahana, Delo Kapid, and he was not strict. He wasn't particular on this. Okay. So let's go on now. Tanu Rabbanan, says a new Braita. Keshehu Noel, when he puts on his shoe, Noel shel Yamin, v'achar kach Noel shel Small. That he puts on the right first, says this Braita, then afterwards puts on the left. Keshehu Choletz, when he removes the shoes, Choletz shel Small, he takes off the left first, v'achar kach Choletz shel Yamin, and afterwards takes off the right. Keshehu Rochetz, when one washes, Rochetz shel Yamin, he washes the left side of his, let's say, body for the moment. V'achar kach Rochetz shel Small, and then afterwards washes the right side. Okay? The Gemara continues. Keshehu Sach, and when he anoints himself with oil, Sach shel Yamin, he anoints the left side first, v'achar kach shel Small, and afterwards he anoints the right. V'harotzeh lasuch kol gufo, but one who wants to anoint his entire body, okay, with oil. Remember they did that after they came out of the Schwitz, so to speak, out of the Merchatz, right? Sach roshot chila, he anoints his head first, mepnei shehu melech al kol evarav, because it is the king, so to speak, of all the limbs, the most important of all the limbs. Okay, back to our Mishnah that tells us that on Shabbat, one does not go out wearing tefillin. Now, we'll see, as the Gemara proceeds, that there apparently was a machloket as to whether, since we know they wore tefillin all day, whether it applied to Shabbat as well. Below tefillin, and not with tefillin. Amar Rav Safra. Says Rav Safra, lo tema ali b'daman da'amar Shabbat, lav zman tefillanhu. Okay? Do not think, he says, that this is only according to the view of those who hold that Shabbat is not a time for tefillin. Ela afilu laman da'amar Shabbat zman tefillinhu. This is also according to those who hold that Shabbat is a time for wearing tefillin. Lo yetzeh, he should not go out wearing them, right? Why? Dilma ate la'atuye b'reshut harabim, lest he come to a situation where he's carrying them in the Daled Amos in the public domain. Ve'ika dematne la'asefa. However, there are those who also teach this in regards to the later clause of the Mishnah, namely where it said, Ve'im yatsa eino chayav chatat. Okay, based on that part. Why? Because they teach it in regarding to that section of the Mishnah. Amar Rav Safra, this is Rav Safra again. Lo tema aliba demanda amar Shabbat zman tfilinhu. Don't say it only applies to those who hold that Shabbat is a time of tefillin, to wear tefillin. Ela afilu leman da'amar. Shabbat lav zman tfilinhu eino chayav chatat. Even according to those who say the Shabbat is not a time for wearing tefillin, he would not be obligated to bring a chatas. Ma'itama, what would be the reasoning? Derech malbush avida, namely that he treats the tefillin just like any other garment, by donning it, by putting it on in the usual manner. Okay. Next, from our Mishnah again. V'lo b'kamiyah b'zman she'eno min hamumcha. And one would not go out, Reshus Harabim, at 4 Amos, wearing an amulet, okay, at the time when it is not, either we can say, she'eno min hamumcha, we can interpret that either that it's not written by an expert, or we can interpret it also that it's not efficacious, effective, right? Amar Rav Papa. Or we're going to get to see that the Gemara is going to tell us maybe there are both situations, that one could have a amulet written by an expert, but it's not effective, or one could have an amulet that's effective, but not necessarily written by an expert. Let's go on. Okay, says Rav Papa. Lo tema ad de mumcha gavra, he says. Okay, so the question Rav Papa is saying, don't think that this applies, all right, that it's a person, okay, and an amulet that's acceptable. Umumcha kamiya. In other words, don't say that it's both a mumcha person, an expert writer, and an expert, an effective amulet. Ela kevan de mumcha gavra, but since the person, the writer of the amulet, is an expert, afal gav de lo mumcha kamiya, even though the amulet itself is not effective. Daikanami, he says, and we can deduce this from the language of the text. The Katani, because it teaches velo b'kamiyah b'zman she'eno min hamumche, because it says not from an amulet at the time that it is not from an expert. Velo katani b'zman she'eno mumche, but it doesn't teach that it's coming from something that isn't expert, which would then apply to the amulet itself, shmamina. And that's what we learned from that. Going on. Tanu Rabbanan, a new Braita, okay, asks the question, Ezohu kamiya mumcha? What do we mean by an effective amulet? Says the Gemara, Kol sharifa vishana vishilesh. It's an amulet that has cured somebody, not just once, but a second time and even a third time. Okay? Echad kamiya shel ktav, whether it is an amulet, whether it is has certain things in writing inside it, ve'echad kamiya shel ikarim, or an amulet that has certain plant roots inside of it. Echad choleh sheyesh bo sakana, whether it's a person who is dangerously ill. Ve'echad choleh she'en bo sakana, or a person who is not seriously ill. Lo shenichpa ela shelo yichapeh. Okay, not somebody, for example, who has suffered from an epileptic fit, okay, or somebody who has never fallen, okay. In other words, they have never had that kind of a situation. V'kosher umatir afilu b'reshut harabim, and one can tie the amulet around their neck, okay, even, or untie it, right, even when they are in the public domain. Ubilvad shelo yikashrenu, so long as they don't tie it b'shir, to a bracelet, ubitabat, or to a ring. V'yatza bo b'reshut harabim, and one can go out wearing this in the public domain, right? Mishum maris ha'ayin, right? Because of the, right? Even with appearance's sake. So in other words, this amulet was worn, let's say, tied on a leather strap or on a chain and worn by the person, okay, to ward off evil or to guarantee some sort of their well-being. So Gemara wants to clarify here, right? Okay, Vahatanya, but aren't we taught elsewhere in another Braita, Ezehu Kamiya Mumche, what is a effective amulet? Kol Sharifa Shalosh B'nei Adam Ke'echad, one that has cured 3 people, okay, so to speak, almost at the same time, okay, as if they've cured 1 person, right? Lo kasha, says the Gemara, it's not a problem. Okay, this statement that we just said, where it heals 3, lemechuye gavra, it says that comes to show the approval of lemechuye gavra, of proof of the person, of the one who wrote it. The other statement, lemechuye kamiya, comes to prove the effectiveness of the amulet. Okay. Now, Amar Rav Papa. Again, Rav Papa. Pshitali, this seems obvious to me, he says. Tlat kamiya, latlat gavrei. If you have 3 amulets, right? Each, let's say, has a different charm or a different text inside it, but let's say they were all written by the same expert, okay? Tzlata zimne, okay? Itmache gavra, okay? You have 3 that are effective 3 times, therefore it shows the person is an expert. V'itmache kamiya. It also shows that it is a effective amulet. Tlata kamiya, tlata gavre, 3 amulets for 3 people. Chad zimna, okay? And in that situation, okay, that's successful for each one of the people, right? What happens then? Okay, Gavra it mache, it shows the person is an expert. Kamiya lo it mache, but the amulet may not necessarily be effective. Chad kamiya l'tlata gavre, 1 amulet for 3 people. Kamiya it mache, the kamiya, the amulet, seems to be proven effective. Gavra lo itmache, but the person is not such an expert. Right? Now, what happens? Rav Papa. Rav Papa then asks the following shaila. Tlata kamiya, lechad gavra, mai kamiya. If you have 3 amulets, okay, that are effective for one person, right, in that situation, right? What's the status of the amulet? Vadai lo itmachi. Okay, it certainly doesn't prove that it's effective. Gavra itmachi, does it prove the person, the writer, is an expert? O lo itmachi, or is he not an expert? Mi amrinin, do we say, ha asile, that this healed him? O dilma, okay, perhaps mazala, the high gavra. Maybe it's just this person's muzzle, his good fortune, okay, his luck, if you will, right? Okay, deka mekabel kadva, okay, and okay, and maybe it's a situation that it's the effectiveness of what was written. Teku. We therefore don't have a clear answer on this. Going on. Ibayalahu. So now the sages ask the following. Kamiyin. Okay? These amulets. Remember that there was a possibility that the divine name was also written inside the amulets, or that the amulets could have been written similar to a Sefer Torah on a piece of parchment, like Torah writing. Okay? So the Gemara asks, Kami'in, these amulets, yesh bahen mishum kedusha, do they possess any sanctity? O dilma ein bahem mishum kedusha, or do they not possess sanctity? Okay? So in what situations might this question apply? Okay? For example, let's say going into a Beit Kisei, right, would be one situation. Okay? Or going into a merchatz in their day, into a bathhouse, would be another possible situation. So the Gemara is going to continue and explore various possibilities. Okay? Lamai helchata. Okay? In respect to what? Okay, might we say the sanctity of these objects are appropriate or not? I lema leitzulinhu mipnei hadeleika. If we say that it's to save them from a fire. Okay? We know we have to save Sefer Torah, tefillin, things like that, right? So perhaps they have that. Tashma, listen to the following, says the Gemara. Okay? Brachot, v'hakmi'im, okay, in terms of specific blessings written down on it, right? And these amulets, afal pi sheyesh behen otiot, even though they may have divine letters, okay, uma'ayinot harbe shebetorah, and they may have passages, sections from the Torah, ein matzilin otan mepnei hadlika, we do not save them from a fire, b'nisrafim b'mkomam, and we allow them to become burnt wherever they are. Okay? So now a second possibility of their kedusha. Ela le'inyan geniza. What about the possibility of having to hide them? Bigones, put them in a geniza, set them aside as holy items. Tashma, says the Gemara. Haya katuv al yadot hakelim, if some divine words or name was written on a utensil, va'al karei hamita, or written or something on the posts, the legs of a bed. Okay, Yagud vayigna zenhu. Okay, one has to carve it out. In other words, remove the divine name, that, and then has to put it in a geniza. Okay, Ella likanes bahem b'beit hakisei. But what about wearing these amulets going into the Beit Kisei? Ma yesh bahen kedusha. Do we say they have sanctity? Va'asir, and therefore they're forbidden to be worn when one goes into the Beit Kisei? Dilma ein bahem kedusha. Perhaps they don't have any sanctity. Vishari, and it's permitted. Tashma, says the Braita. Listen to the following. Velo b'kamiyah b'zman she'eno min hamumche. And not with an amulet that is not from an expert. Ha min hamumcha nafik. Does that mean then that if it's from an expert, one may go out with it? Okay, if they need to wear it in the Beit Kisei or in the Rishus Harabim. Ve'i amart kami'in yesh bahen mishum kedusha. And if you're going to say that these amulets possess a level of sanctity, zimnin the mitztarich lebeit hakisei. Okay, if it's situation, let's say, that one has a need to use the Beit Kisei and forgets, okay, that that he was still wearing it, that he didn't remove it, okay, and he's in the Rishus Harabim. Va'ate le'atuyinu dalet amot b'Rishut Harabim. Aren't we going to be concerned that he might carry it then in Dalet Amos in the Rishus Harabim? Hacha b'mayas. What are we talking about here? Asks the Gemara. B'kamiyah shel ikarim. We're talking though about an amulet that contains roots. Okay. V'hatanya, asks the Gemara. But aren't we taught echad kamiyah shel ktav, v'echad kamiyah shel ikarim, that the same applies to a amulet that has writing in it, or an amulet that is made from roots? Elahacha b'mayas kinim. But here, what are we really talking about? B'chola sheyesh bo sakana. We're talking about a person, okay, who is seriously ill, dangerously ill. Hatanya. But here we're taught also in a Braita. Echad cholesh sheyesh bo sakana, ve'echad cholesh she'en bo sakana. Regardless of whether the person is seriously ill or not, or their life isn't in danger, they're not seriously ill. Ela kevan demase, but since it does heal, af al gav denakit le biyade, even though he may go out holding it in his hand, nami shapir dami. Okay, here too, this seems to be acceptable. It seems all right. Let's go on just a little bit more on Kaf Bet, on Samech Bet. Okay? Vahatanya, says the Gemara. But aren't we also taught elsewhere in another Braita? Okay, Rabbi Oshaya Omer, says Rabbi Oshaya, Ubavad shelo yachzenu biyado, provided that he doesn't hold it in his hand. V'yavi renu arba amot b'reshut harabi, and pass it, so this, in other words, carry it for 4 cubits in the public domain. Hacha b'mayas kinan, but what are we talking about here? B'mechupa, or namely that the amulet is covered with leather, In other words, it's sort of more like a leather bag. Okay? And and therefore there is a, if you will, something that protects the amulet when he goes into the Beit Kisei. So the Gemara challenges that. If you say that it's wrapped in, let's say, leather or skin, v'harei tefillin demechupa or, but what about tefillin? They're wrapped in leather, even though they have divine writing and the Shem Hashem inside it. Vitanya, okay, wouldn't that be similar to the kamea of the kind that has writing in it? Vitanya, and we're taught there, hanichnas leveit hakisei, one who goes into the Beit Kisei, choletz tefillin berachok arba amot v'nichnas, that one has to remove his tefillin at least 4 cubits away and then enter. Hatam mishum shin. There, because we say of the divine, the letter shin standing for the divine name. The Amar Abaye, why? Because Abaye says, shin shel tefillin halacha Moshe miSinai. That having a shin on the tefillin is a law from Moshe at Sinai. V'amar Abaye, and Abaye said even further, our dalid shel tefillin, okay, that the yud of the tefillin, okay, the dalid, of the tefillin, okay, is also halacha Moshe miSinai. Okay, remember that's the shape of one of the knots, right? V'amar Abaye, yud shel tefillin halacha Moshe miSinai. That having the yud also part of the knots, okay, is of the tefillin, is a law of Moshe miSinai. Okay? And that is going to lead us to the final part of the Mishnah, okay, where it said, velo b'shiryon, not with a coat of mail, velo b'kasda, and not with a kind of leather, some say metal, but let's say leather head covering, velo b'magafayim, and not with what we'll call greaves, or known as leggings, okay? Shiryon, what's the shiryon? Zarda kasta. Okay, zarda, really, it is, again, like a coat of mail. Kasta, what is that? Amar Rav, says Rav, sanvarata. It's a kind of leather hat that went under the metal helmet. Magafayim, and the magafayim, these leggings, okay? The Amar Rav Pazmake. They again are a kind of metal leg armor that was worn. Okay? So if you think of Roman soldiers, okay, that had a coat of mail, and then they would wear these leg armor pieces on the front of their ankles, and they wore some sort of leather hat, larger than a kippah, certainly under their helmet to keep in place. Okay, these things were not permitted for Jews to be worn, okay, on out in the Rishus Rabbim on Shabbat. And we'll stop there on Samach Bet with that new Mishnah, where we're going to go back again and talk a little bit more detail about clothes worn by women or by men, as well as not, since we talked also about amulets, we'll talk about other kinds of charms and other things that were worn by people at that time.
We have different type of shin guards.
Yeah?
One, the letter shin.
Right? Shin guards? Okay. Thank you. Right.
Very
Again,
cute. Very
think
cute.
of, I think of also if
Have a
in
good day.
sports, if you think of what a catcher wears
Yeah.
also. That would be a similar example to a shin guard as well. All right?
Very good.
Everybody have a good day.
Have a good
Stay healthy, everybody.
Thank
Okay?
you, Ram.
And take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So long.
Thank you.